Hi, this is Bobby Grubb with Grub Mud Concrete. Today we're working out in Pittsboro, Indiana, where we're pouring the patio, part two of a two-part series. So if you didn't check out part one, make sure you check it out. So we're wheelbarrowing this, and it's basically the best way to do it. It's a long wheel, but it's going up the driveway and over the walkboards, through the grass, up the ramp to grandmother's house we go. But it's the best way to do it because if you use a Georgia buggy, it's just going to tear up our landscaping. But over those ramps, it's not too bad. Just going through the grass is the only hard part, but it's all downhill. At least that's what Justin said. So it wasn't too bad going up driveways and stuff. And I always tell my guys, don't fill them up all the way because there's no point in filling them up all the way. You're just going to spill it, or you're going to make a mess, something. So I always tell them halfway, you might pull a muscle. So just take it easy. It'll get back there. It's only 2.5 yards. So I'm going to fast forward this video a little bit because it's going to be kind of boring just watching them wheel it in. So I don't usually do my videos like this, but on this one I kind of had to. So we fill up that back wall first. That probably wasn't the best idea. We should have filled up the other wall first, but it kind of just worked out like that. Here I am spraying on the bubblegum release on our form liners. Now this is a very, very important step because if you don't do it, your concrete will stick to the liners and you won't be able to spray your liners very good either. And you want to save liners so you can reuse them over and over and over and over again, because for one, they look really, really nice, and for two, you want to keep them in good shape. You see me, I'm pulling up the wire every time they dump. I pull it up a little bit. That way the wire's not hanging out on the bottom. It's actually doing something. It is towards the bottom, but it's not on the bottom. And it's only about a 4 slump, so it's not gonna, people say you're gonna walk on it's gonna go back down. It's not gonna go down through the bottom of the concrete. It'll be towards the bottom third, exactly where it's supposed to be. What I do is I run a Sawzall up against my form to vibrate it. I actually thought that I invented that technique, but I've actually seen it on a couple other people's channels, and that's kind of cool. So either they learned it off my channel or they've been doing it too. I've seen on some like Decocrete and stuff, they use a palm sander, and I don't like that because they're not cordless and they're not variable speed. But here I am running it. You put it right up against the form and pull the trigger, pretty easy. Now I got my back wall and my other wall floated, and I put the strike off board up there and got it ready. My dad he'll bring in one more wheelbarrow and we'll start striking off here. Like I said, it's about a 4 slump, so it's pretty stiff and it's kind of hard to hand screed, but we got it down. It wasn't too bad. But you see how we kind of keep the board leaned back a little bit, especially when it's dry like this. You want to do that. That'll help so you don't pull so many rocks. We pulled a little bit at the beginning. That's why I filled them in with my float right there. But basically, we get it back to a certain point, and then what I do is I strike off the other direction and blend it in. Right to about right there. You always want to make sure you're down. I did crawl this. I went across that back wall and then down the other wall and cleaned out my joints with knee boards, but you definitely want to make sure you get it good the first time. It's less work you got to do later. When I first started doing concrete, the guy that taught me almost everything I know, he told me it's only wrong if you leave it, and he's exactly right. It's not wrong if you fix it right away, but it is wrong if you leave it. So don't skip over things. Tighten it up as you go, and you'll be just fine. And don't be afraid to ask for help. That's some advice from another channel, but it's really good advice. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I still call a guy that I used to work for and ask him questions every once in a while. I actually called a guy the other day and asked him about some pricing for builders, and because we don't work for a lot of builders, we basically do construction at people's homes. So I'm cutting in my borders right here. I know what you guys are going to say. You need to get that tool that's a joiner and an edger all in one, but you can't use an edger when you have form liners. So um, I don't know of any other way to do it with, and I like doing it like this. If you let it get stiff enough, it works really good. Now this tool right here, this is a laser beam joiner made by Cadillac Concrete Products. To me, this joiner is unequivocally the best joiner on the market. They have 3 joiners that basically go with this setup. One of them is shaped like an airplane where you can get to your intersections and clean them out without closing in or leaving a line on your other joint. And they got it's a little bit wider than this one, but this is the one you're going to want to use at first. Then they obviously have a regular pan joiner, which is a pull joiner. I don't know. I've always heard them called pan joiners, but um, some people pound them in by hand with the straight edge. There's nothing wrong with that, but with this thing, you don't even need a line popped in the concrete. You can really just eyeball it straight, and it's laser beam straight. You'll see how straight this one is. Sometimes you got to put a little pressure right up against your form, but that's no big deal. And then what you want to do is you want to take your hand joiner and clean out your intersections as you go. All right, so I already crawled the wall on the left there and got to my corner, and then I fuzzed up my joint, and now I'm running my hand joiner through it, and I'll pass it over to Justin, and he'll run it through all the way and clean up the joint the rest of the way. But you do have to fuzz over your joint with your float before, because these hand joiners, they are the same depth as the other one, but there's just like I think it's just broken in a little bit more. So they match, but it's if you fuzz it up a little bit, it'll have a nicer finish when you get done. What you also want to have an extra float in your hand. This is my finished float. The float in my other hand is a hard bottom resin float. That's for I always use it as my leaner because it pulls the cream up really, really good. And then I use one of my finished floats. We don't trial our concrete before we broom it. I put a slick float on it, and it brooms just as nice as if I would put a trial on it. I've done it both ways. I've Fresno'd it. I put a trial on it, and it brooms. The broom looks exactly the same. But that's for here in Indiana. I'm not telling you how to do your concrete in any other state, but that is just how we do it. I have seen some other channels, they do it the same way, so there's some other states that do it like that too. So when you put your broom up against your wall, you'll want to, here, you'll see me, I slide it that way first with the corner of it, and that allows it to have some texture up against the wall. And then just set it down really easy and pull it right through. Now you don't want to clog up your border joint, so I let it get hard enough to where you could push-pull it, but I didn't push-pull it. I would rather pull twice than push-pull. So it's just my preferred method. I would rather pull twice than push-pull. Push-pull is going to give you a little bit rougher of a broom. Pulling it twice isn't quite as rough. It has plenty of texture, but it's not rough by any means. Now I'm brooming my borders the other direction. When you put your broom in your joint, just be careful not to mess up your other broom because it's going the opposite direction. This look is really, really nice, and it's relatively easy, and I don't charge them anything more. I probably should, but I don't charge them anything more for the liners or the borders. I just like my work to stand apart from the competition around here, so I just throw it all in for the price of doing business with me. And it differentiates us from our competition because not too many other companies in Indiana even use liners. They just use boards, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I like the sides of my concrete to have some texture and some contrast. And so now I'm sealing it. I am using natural seal. It's a water-based penetrating sealer, not a Cure Seal. Um, I don't mind the Cure Seal, but what I'm not going to use anymore is solvent-based Cure Seal. I had an issue with that, leaving some dark spots on a patio, and I'm not going to use that anymore. Here you can see how nice this job is and how nice our backyard is. You see how we backfilled all the stone, the lava rock and everything. Um, that's something that we always do is we make it to where the customer can just plant seed or doesn't have to do anything. At the most, all they'll have to do is plant seed, and customers love to hear that. They don't even want to know that you were in their backyard after you've left. So the less work you can leave them with, the better. Or they don't have to hire anybody else, the better. But you can see how nice her backyard is right here, and she's got that little pond, exposed ag patio, and a beautiful brand new concrete patio with stone faces. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate all of you loyal watchers. Have a good day.